talk about the beautiful business of milk today, yeah, yeah. I got milk. Let's talk about milk. Oh yeah, baby, let's talk about the beautiful business of milk today.
This episode of Got Milk is sponsored by Shunya Agritech, the folks revolutionizing cattle nutrition with hydroponic green fodder. Visit their website at shunya.live for more details or download the Shunya app from Play Store or App Store.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
All right.
This time, we're going to be tackling a research paper
Okay.
that you sent in
Yes.
about climate-smart agriculture in India.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as a way to kind of supercharge farming,
Right.
making it both productive and environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
We're going to be uncovering, how different approaches impact water use,
Okay.
greenhouse gases,
Mhm.
and even the economy as a whole.
So what's fascinating about this paper is how it zooms in on India,
Okay.
where agriculture employs a staggering 54.6% of the workforce
Wow.
and contributes nearly 18% of the country's total value.
Yeah.
Any changes in this sector
Right.
will have huge ripple effects.
That's a massive chunk of the population and the
Yeah.
economy.
Huge.
The paper really emphasizes how Indian agriculture, particularly rice and wheat cultivation,
Right.
is a major source of greenhouse gases.
Yes.
It seems like finding sustainable solutions is critical not just for India,
Yeah.
but for the global climate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Rice cultivation, for example,
Okay.
is a significant contributor to methane emissions.
Right.
And as you know, methane is a much more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
packing over 80 times the warming power over a 20-year period.
Okay, so the stakes are high.
Yes.
The research focuses on rice and wheat because they're staples in the Indian diet,
Right.
but also major culprits in greenhouse gas emissions.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about the climate-smart agriculture
Yes.
or CSA approaches the paper dives into.
So the paper examines three distinct approaches.
Okay.
First, we have conservation agriculture, or CA.
Okay.
It's all about minimizing soil disturbance, ensuring permanent soil cover,
Got it.
and embracing diverse crops.
Okay.
The study zeroes in on direct-seeded rice, known as DSR,
Mm-hmm.
and zero-tillage wheat, or ZT,
Okay.
as prime examples of CA in action.
So less tilling, more variety. Got it.
Yes.
What about this system of rice and wheat intensification?
Right.
Sounds pretty intense.
It is. We'll call it SRI, SWI for short.
Okay.
This approach focuses on optimizing the health and efficiency of your plants.
Interesting.
Soil, water, and nutrient management.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine pampering your crops so they thrive using fewer resources.
Sounds like a 5-star treatment for crops.
Exactly.
And lastly, there's zero budget natural farming, or ZBNF.
Right.
The zero budget part definitely piqued my interest.
It's a movement with deep roots in India,
Okay.
aiming to completely eliminate the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides.
Mm-hmm.
These inputs can be expensive
Right.
and carry negative environmental consequences.
Yeah.
ZBNF proponents champion building healthy soil and utilizing natural processes to boost yields.
Interesting. So we have these three contenders.
Yeah.
For a more sustainable approach to Indian agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
But how did the researchers actually measure the impact of each approach?
Right.
They mentioned a social accounting matrix,
Yeah.
which sounds a little complex.
It might sound intimidating.
Yeah.
I think of it like a map of the Indian economy.
Okay.
This matrix tracks how money flows between different sectors, from farming to manufacturing to services, and even down to individual households.
Okay.
By plugging in each CSA approach,
Yeah.
the researchers could model the ripple effects across the entire economy,
Right.
not just on the farms themselves.
So it's like a simulator that helps us see the big picture,
Exactly.
not just the isolated impacts.
Yeah,
That's crucial for policymakers trying to assess the long-term consequences.
absolutely.
What were some of the key findings,
Yeah.
particularly in terms of economic impact?
So
Which approach came out on top?
when it comes to overall economic impact,
Okay.
SRI, SY, our crop pampering approach,
Right.
takes the lead.
Okay.
The model showed that it led to significant boosts in GDP,
Gotcha.
increased incomes across various sectors, and even positive ripple effects into manufacturing and other industries.
So treating those crops like VIPs actually translates to economic gains.
It does.
That's a compelling argument for investing in better crop management techniques.
Sure.
What about ZBNF and the conservation agriculture approaches?
Sure.
Where do they stand in the economic landscape?
ZBNF came in a close second,
Okay.
showing some intriguing shifts in income and output, especially for rural farming households.
Okay.
This aligns with ZBNF's emphasis on minimizing external inputs,
Right.
putting more money directly in the pockets of farmers.
It makes sense that cutting costs on fertilizers and pesticides would translate to increased income,
It does.
particularly for those who need it most.
Exactly.
And what about direct-seeded rice and zero-tillage wheat?
Sure.
How did those practices fare?
DSRZT had a more moderate impact on the overall economy,
Okay.
but they stood out for requiring less labor.
Oh.
As India's economy evolves and labor shifts towards different sectors,
Right.
this reduced reliance on manual labor could be a significant advantage.
So it's not just about boosting the economy.
Right.
It's also about adapting to the changing dynamics of the workforce.
Exactly.
That's a really important consideration as we look toward the future.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that the researchers also modeled the impact of diversifying away from rice and wheat.
They did.
Tell me more about that.
They explored what would happen if India shifted some of its rice and wheat production towards other grains, like maize, sorghum, and millets.
Okay.
What they found was quite remarkable.
Okay.
Not only did this diversification boost incomes and GDP,
Interesting.
but it also resulted in reduced water consumption
Wow.
and a smaller environmental footprint.
So diversifying our diets could have a positive ripple effect,
It could.
making the entire system more sustainable and resilient.
Absolutely.
But let's zoom in on those environmental impacts.
Okay.
Which approach had the lightest footprint in terms of water use and greenhouse gas emissions?
ZBNF, with its emphasis on natural processes and minimal external inputs, emerged as the champion for both water and carbon footprint reduction.
That's encouraging.
It is.
But I'm curious about SOI's performance.
Okay.
Didn't it show promise in reducing water consumption?
Yes, it did reduce water use for rice cultivation.
Okay.
However, its impact on wheat water consumption was more nuanced and complex.
Interesting.
This highlights an important point.
Okay.
Even practices designed with sustainability in mind can have unexpected consequences.
Yeah.
It underscores the need for careful assessment and ongoing monitoring.
That's a great reminder that there's no silver bullet solution.
No, there isn't.
So now that we've explored the economic and environmental impacts, I'm curious about the policy implications.
Okay.
What does the research suggest about how India can put these findings into action?
The paper highlights that India's government is already actively promoting natural farming practices.
Okay.
But there are challenges to overcome,
Right.
particularly in providing adequate support to farmers during the transition.
Yeah.
We have to remember the example of Sri Lanka, where a rapid shift to organic farming had some unintended negative consequences.
Yes, that's a cautionary tale we should heed.
Absolutely.
It seems like a balanced approach with careful planning and support systems in place is crucial.
I agree.
What else did the paper emphasize in terms of policy recommendations?
The paper stresses the need for a broader perspective on CSA, moving beyond just the 3 pillars of productivity, adaptation, and mitigation.
Right.
It argues that nutrition, food sovereignty,
Right.
and even national security should be integrated into the framework. Essentially, it's about looking at the whole picture, not just isolated pieces.
It's fascinating how interconnected these issues are.
It is.
It's not just about growing more food.
Right.
It's about growing the right food in a way that benefits everyone.
Exactly.
The paper also delved into the specific economic impacts, right?
It did.
Did any of those numbers jump out at you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
The study found that even modest shifts in land use
Okay.
towards these CSA methods could add billions of rupees to India's GDP.
Wow.
That's a substantial economic boost.
That's not just pocket change.
No.
It really highlights how sustainability can be economically sound.
Yeah.
Did the researchers point to any specific sectors that stand to gain the most from these shifts?
The study highlighted some intriguing ripple effects.
Oh.
Sectors closely tied to agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
like raw milk production, wholesale and retail trade, and land transport,
Right.
all saw a boost when these CSA methods were factored in.
Yeah.
It makes sense, right?
It does.
If farming becomes more productive and profitable, those downstream industries benefit as well.
It's like a chain reaction of positive impacts.
Exactly.
But it's not just about the overall economic growth.
Right.
It's also about how those gains are distributed.
Yeah.
What did the study reveal about income changes for different groups?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The research found that rural farming households, particularly those with lower incomes,
Right.
stood to gain the most from these CSA approaches. That's encouraging because these are often the folks who are most vulnerable to climate change impacts and economic hardship.
It suggests that these approaches could not only boost the economy,
Yeah,
but also make it more equitable and resilient.
absolutely.
And didn't the paper also touch on how these different farming methods could impact labor needs?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The researchers point out that as agriculture becomes more efficient and potentially less labor intensive,
Right.
particularly with methods like DSRZT,
Yeah.
there could be shifts in the workforce.
Okay.
This raises important questions about how to support workers in transitioning to new opportunities in other sectors.
It makes me think of those historical shifts from agrarian societies to industrialized ones. Could we be witnessing a similar transformation now,
Potentially.
but with sustainability at the forefront?
Yeah.
It's a fascinating prospect, but also one that demands careful consideration and planning to ensure a smooth and equitable transition.
Precisely. We need to be proactive in creating policies and programs that support workers during these shifts.
Right.
We need to ensure that everyone benefits from a more sustainable future, not just those directly involved in agriculture.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But of course, with any large-scale change,
Yeah.
there will be challenges.
Right.
What are some of the hurdles that India might face when implementing these CSA approaches?
Well, the Sri Lankan example definitely serves as a cautionary tale.
It does.
Rushing into change without adequate support systems in place can backfire.
Yes.
What other potential challenges did the research highlight?
One key challenge is the need for robust knowledge-sharing networks.
Yeah.
These CSA approaches often require new skills and a different way of thinking about farming.
Right.
Getting that information out to farmers in a way that's accessible and understandable is crucial.
Yeah.
It's like we need a whole agricultural education system to support this transition.
And it's not just about the technical aspect. Farmers may also need support, navigating new policies, accessing credit,
Yeah,
and even adapting to shifting market demands.
absolutely.
It's a multifaceted challenge that requires a comprehensive approach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to create an entire ecosystem of support.
Right.
So farmers feel empowered to adopt these new methods and thrive in a more sustainable future.
Okay.
The paper suggests that this support should come from various sources,
Mhm.
the government NGOs, research institutions,
Yeah.
and even farmer-to-farmer networks.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
A diverse support system is more likely to meet the needs of different farmers in different regions.
absolutely.
It's about building a movement, not just implementing a top-down policy.
Right.
What other insights did the researchers offer in terms of ensuring that these changes benefit everyone and not just a select few?
The paper emphasizes that equity needs to be at the forefront of every decision.
Okay.
That means ensuring fair access to resources, markets, and information, particularly for small-scale farmers and marginalized communities who are often excluded from traditional systems.
It's about addressing existing power imbalances within the agricultural system
Yes.
and creating a level playing field where everyone has the opportunity to succeed.
Absolutely.
What are some concrete steps that can be taken to ensure this equity?
The paper suggests a few key strategies.
Okay.
One is promoting land tenure security for smallholder farmers. So they have a vested interest in investing in the long-term health of their land.
Right.
Another is ensuring that women farmers,
Okay.
who play a vital role in Indian agriculture,
Yeah.
have equal access to resources, training, and decision-making power.
Empowering women is not just a matter of fairness.
Right.
It's also essential for boosting productivity and building more resilient communities.
Absolutely.
What other strategies did the research highlight?
The study emphasizes the importance of investing in rural infrastructure,
Okay.
such as irrigation systems, storage facilities, and transportation networks. This can help reduce post-harvest losses, improve market access for farmers, and enhance overall economic activity in rural areas.
It's a reminder that creating a sustainable and equitable food system requires more than just focusing on the farm itself.
It does.
It requires a holistic approach that considers the entire value chain
Yeah.
and addresses systemic inequalities.
Exactly.
What other insights did the paper offer regarding policy recommendations?
The researchers really stressed the need for flexible and adaptive policies.
Okay.
What works in one region or for one type of farmer
Yeah.
might not be suitable elsewhere.
Right.
They recommend a decentralized approach that allows for regional variations and empowers local communities to participate in shaping solutions.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
A one-size-fits-all approach rarely works
Yeah.
when it comes to something as complex as agriculture.
No, it doesn't.
It sounds like it's about finding the right balance between national guidance and local autonomy.
Yeah.
Did the researchers offer any specific examples of how this decentralized approach could be put into practice?
They suggested establishing regional CSA centers
Okay.
that could act as hubs for knowledge sharing, training, and technical assistance.
Got it.
These centers could tailor their services to the specific needs of farmers in their area,
Right.
taking into account local climate conditions, soil types, and socioeconomic factors.
It's like creating a network of agricultural innovation labs,
Yeah,
each focused on finding solutions that work best for their particular context.
exactly.
That's a really interesting idea.
Hmm.
We've talked a lot about the Indian context,
Yes.
but I'm curious about the global implications of these findings.
Right.
Do you see these CSA approaches as a potential model for other countries facing similar challenges?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The challenges India faces, climate change, resource scarcity, food security,
Yeah.
are mirrored in many parts of the world,
Mhm.
especially in developing countries.
Right?
The solutions explored in this paper, particularly those that focus on empowering smallholder farmers and building resilience from the ground up,
Right?
could offer valuable insights for other nations looking to make their agricultural systems more sustainable and equitable.
That's what's so exciting about this kind of research.
Yeah,
It has the potential to transcend borders and inspire solutions on a global scale.
absolutely.
It gives me hope that we can create a future
Yeah.
where everyone has access to nutritious food without compromising the health of our planet. But it also makes me wonder,
Yeah.
what are some of the bigger overarching questions that go beyond the specific findings of this study?
Here's one that I think is crucial.
Okay.
How do we shift mindsets away from the dominant paradigm of industrialized agriculture, which often prioritizes short-term profits and high yields over long-term sustainability and social equity?
Yeah.
Moving towards truly sustainable agriculture requires a fundamental shift in how we think about our relationship with food, the environment, and each other.
It's about moving away from the idea of food as simply a commodity
Right.
and recognizing the interconnectedness
Yeah.
of everything,
Yeah.
from the soil to the farmer to the consumer.
Absolutely.
It's about valuing resilience,
Okay.
diversity, and community, not just production and profit.
Yes.
But how do we encourage this kind of paradigm shift?
Right.
It seems like such a daunting task.
It's a challenge for sure,
Yeah.
but I believe education and awareness are key.
Okay.
We need to start telling different stories about food and farming.
Mm-hmm.
Stories that celebrate the ingenuity of smallholder farmers,
Right.
the importance of biodiversity, and the value of traditional knowledge.
Okay.
We need to highlight the true costs of industrialized agriculture, not just the price tag at the supermarket.
It's about helping people understand that their choices matter.
Exactly.
What we eat, where we buy our food, how much we waste.
Yeah,
It all adds up.
it does.
We need to empower consumers to vote with their forks and support a more sustainable and just food system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about individual choices.
Yeah.
It's also about collective action. Okay.
We need to advocate for policies that support sustainable agriculture, invest in research and innovation,
Yeah.
and hold corporations accountable for their environmental and social impacts.
Right.
This research is a starting point,
Yeah.
a spark that can ignite further exploration and action.
Gotcha.
It's a reminder that we have the power to shape the future of food and create a world where both people and the planet thrive.
That is something to ponder for sure. And hey, if you've got your own research stack on this or any other topic that needs a deep dive, you know where to find us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.